all you recovering emo kids. Amanda and Rob here at the Emo Kids Anonymous podcast. And on today's episode, we have a great one for you. We have Zach and Sean from Old Neon, pop punk band out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Steel City, go Steelers. Pennsylvania, Rob's favorite place on the planet Earth.
Listen, I have a lot of qualms against the state of Pennsylvania. Are they all good people? Most of them? I don't know. I don't know Pennsylvania, but let me say the Old Neon guys, I am in support of. They're pretty nice. So this interview you're going to see here, we're going to be doing a lot of yapping with Sean and Zach, right? Zach, we look a lot alike. Like, I feel like there's a slight, we might be cousins. I don't know what's going on here, but either way, before we dive into this interview, I need you guys to do us a favor, okay? This is Emo Kids Anonymous. Emo Kids Anonymous is a podcast on the NapNet network. Now, what that means is Never a Phase Network. You've probably seen some videos pop up over the last week. You're like, what the fuck is Never a Phase Network? I don't know. It's a collective of content creators like us, like me and Amanda. You know, we're a package deal here. You got Road Dog, Jesse James, and the Badass Billy Gunn. You got Hawk and Animal. You got whatever you want. Scott Hall, Kevin Nash. You got Kareem and Magic, you got Peanut Butter Jelly, you got McCartney, Lennon. That's me and Amanda, okay? But we also got a pile of people. We got a team here, okay? Okay, it wasn't just James Worthy and Magic Johnson, okay? There was other people on that team, and collectively, you know Swemo, you know Stereotherapy, you know the CZB, you know the Jezzy, you know the Dane Cuddlecore, Kyle, Cars by Kyle. There's a collective of us, collectively, CZB, the like. We create this content, long form, short form, medium form. You're going to check us out. So do us a favor, not only follow us personally, don't just follow us, Emo Kids Anonymous, like, prescribe, and the like. Do us a favor, like, prescribe, and the like, follow Instagram, TikToks for Never a Phase Network as well, okay? Because we're going to be creating a lot of cool stuff. Now, nevertheless, all that's been said, great interview here. I believe we had a great time with our friends from Old Neon. Go ahead.
We did.
Check this out.
Very happy to have you guys on the podcast today. You have been on my TikTok feed, my Instagram feed for quite a while. You know, your
Pretty
songs.
infectious.
Yeah, your
People
songs
are calling it
infectious.
COVID-25, bro. Like, yeah, it's catching on hard.
I know that one of our dreams was to be responsible for a pandemic, so that feels really nice. Thank you.
Yeah.
Crossing off your bucket list.
Yeah, a few the proud. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. But we are really happy to have you guys on today to talk about your music, to talk about the band itself, and, you know, what you guys have going on, coming up, all that fun stuff. I'm so curious to learn more about your Halloween show.
Yeah.
I already told my boss lives in Pittsburgh now, and I was like, hey, I might have to go to this show. You mind if I stay at your house? She's like, yeah, that's fine. I might be doing that.
It's kind of become probably bigger than the band itself. This is our third Halloween show.
What's the Halloween show deal? I'm not hip to the Halloween show stuff. What do you guys do? Give us a little synopsis here.
Well, there's always some sort of unhinged aspect of it that is sometimes difficult to prepare for. Like last year, I think within the first song, we all went as Chris Pratt. So Drew was dressed as Mario, and within the first song, he got a bloody nose. I think he like smacked his face on something.
Yeah.
Maybe the microphone.
You start thinking about Jesus too hard.
Yeah. And then somebody had to like open a tampon in his nose. And then like a few songs later, someone proposed to someone else. And and this year is our second annual like pop punk drag show. So like we play behind the drag queens and they do like the drag performance.
That's amazing. Are they going to be themed for the show at all? Like, do you know
Will
yet?
they be doing Chris Pratt drag or not?
Usually they all have no. Chris Pratt was last year, so that's
okay.
We're not going to do that again.
Yeah,
we've actually been discussing it all. Some of this week. We don't know what the costume officially is going to be yet, but it's going to be stupid. I guarantee that.
I am hyped on the costume already. You got me.
Yeah. I know. Yes.
But last year when we did the drag show, they kind of all did their own choreography. If we had Lydia Collins, who is now on RuPaul's Drag Race, they brought like their own like frame to get in for empty frames and like pull themselves out of. That was pretty intense.
Awesome.
And Joe, my gosh, he was one of the other drag queens that did it with us, like tied themselves up and like had like a light up dress, and everyone kind of
There.
does their own like sort of choreography, and like it's like watching a little play, but they're like also lip syncing and doing the drag thing,
Yeah.
and people are throwing dollars. It's crazy.
That
Yeah.
that sounds like a
Wicked.
lot of fun. And then are you guys playing your original music behind them, or are you
Yeah,
doing
yeah,
Oh, that's really
yeah. So
cool.
they like, yeah, they'll like lip sync to our songs basically. Yeah,
That's magical. Hell yeah. You guys got drag queens singing old neon songs here?
yeah. We're actually like fairly um involved in I mean, I know that like myself, Drew, occasionally Zach, when he has nights available, like we go to drag shows pretty often, so we know like a bunch of drag queens in town. And one of my best friends, Joe, is like the drag queen that helps me put this on every year. And yeah, we're like pretty involved in that scene, like
Mhm.
tangentially. Like people do, it's funny, we've gotten to the point where like people do our songs at drag shows without us there. And we'll get like a video of like someone doing, you know, an old neon song at drag, which is just
Yeah,
so fucking awesome in my opinion. So
that is really cool.
I've never
yeah,
been to a drag show before in my whole life.
Rob, you
it's
I
have to
worked in
go.
cool.
West
Yeah,
Hollywood for years.
sure.
Yeah, I live in LA.
You
Like
live in
it's
LA?
definitely nothing against it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's more so just like I don't go out much at night and I'm not much of a
Hmm.
brunch guy. So I think it just hasn't really overlapped. Gary was in a band with like his wife, like they're hard into it. Like I think she's performed out as well. And I'm just like, you're not gonna get me out at 11 a.m. or 11 p.m. Like my sweet spot is kind of like happy hour, you know? Like right now is
Mhm.
my sweet spot. Like I can't do too much. So I haven't gone, but like I'd be hyped on an old neon drag show. This if I ever find myself back and I have an issue right
I
now with the
know.
other side of your
I
state.
saw your
Yeah,
issue. I
you know,
saw
yeah,
that.
we don't,
Yeah.
yeah, you understand. Not a Philadelphia guy right now. We're still on the outs, but I'm very open to Western PA. I have an affinity for
Yeah.
Pittsburgh. It sounds like
Steel
I
City?
think I would like it. Yeah, I think I would like the Steel City.
Yeah. Philly's a different animal entirely, I think.
It is, yeah. It is 100%. My stepfather is from Pittsburgh, so I spent many a years visiting Pittsburgh. His brother-in-law was the general manager for Kennywood for a long
Cool.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Man.
for a long time, yes. So we got to go there a lot. It's a amusement park, Rob, if you're not
Are you
familiar.
guys Kennywood? Is it like Kenny Rogers?
No, it's like
No.
Cedar Point or like a
Oh,
amusement
Yeah,
okay.
park.
Are you
yeah.
guys Steelers fans then?
No.
No? That's
I
good. Okay.
by geographical
But
association,
geographic, you're like, oh, we don't
Yes.
get
yeah, I
that's
don't
good. Yeah. I don't have any good
watch
memories
football.
associated with the Steelers. That would have gone downhill quick. I'm a Chargers fan. They always beat us.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah. I guess for the listeners at home, or in their car or whatever, if their TikTok and Instagram feeds haven't been infected with old neon, I guess, let's tell some people who the heck you guys are, really.
Yeah.
Sure. Do you want to do that, Zach?
Zach, you know what's weird,
Just
bro? Is me and
please.
you. If you combined our people used to tell me I look like Drake Bell, but you look like Drake Bell, bro. I think if you put our
You think
faces
so?
together, we would literally just be Drake Bell, which isn't great because he's got some cases and stuff, but like
He's tried
facial
to
structure wise, like I'm like, yo, I think this guy Zach might be a cousin of mine. I don't know. I don't know.
Well, I guess that means unfortunately my name's Drake Bell and I play in Old Neon.
Great.
My name is Zach. I play drums in Old Neon. Who is Old Neon? What are they? A pop punk band from Pittsburgh, and we love drag as well. And I don't know where to go from there, Sean. Fill in the gaps.
Well, that wasn't a very good I wanted you to have like some talking time and then you failed me. But no, we started I think like just before COVID, I started to kind of like put some songs together in this, I guess, genre because it was kind of the genre that I grew up with. And then I spent all of COVID trying to like produce those songs and find people to play them, which, you know, mixed results. And then as things started to open up, I kind of just like magically found the right people to put in the right places and met Drew and met Zach and met Mike. And yeah, we play like a pretty poppy, pretty like high energy brand of pop punk. I think right now there's a lot of I don't know how to classify it or if it should be classified, but I think right now, especially in our scene, there's a lot of sort of like DIY emo going on, and we're
Nice the
Yeah.
word.
Yep.
We're more
Mhm.
of a throwback to when, people wrote songs like, I would say examples of that would be like Cartel or The Starting Line, when people
Yep.
wrote pop songs that were
Yep.
also punk songs. And
Yes.
so we
Mhm.
kind of fall more under that umbrella, and we're just all about like hooks and fun, and our shows are really big parties.
It's fantastic. Y'all ever find yourself getting called emo by people just because there is this, Rob and I, by the time this airs, we'll have an episode out about bands that people consider
Yeah.
emo that aren't emo,
Just
and a
pop
lot of
punk,
pop
anything
punk
remotely
falls in
like it. Yeah.
there. A lot of people see a lot of pop punk as emo, but it's not. And do you guys ever get called emo by anyone ever?
I'm sure that people have classified us as such, but we're like one of the few bands I think that I've ever met who just like say we are pop punk, and like
Yes. Love it.
we're not trying to be anything else. We're not trying to reinvent the wheel. We are just a pop punk band. That's what we do. That's what we
Yeah.
like. And of course I love emo too, but like it's it's kind of a different aim for us, and like an end goal. And like some of the parts of some songs can kind of overlap into different genres, but like
Yeah.
when I started the band, I set out to write like hooks, and I
Yeah.
wasn't necessarily um I wasn't necessarily like clued into what's happening in emo right now, like this huge emo revival, because when I started this band, and you're probably gonna think I'm full of shit, but like I thought like I want to start doing this music again because nobody does it anymore. But then like the more I got into it, the more I was like,
You
oh
realize
no,
you're like, oh,
like
there's kind of a whole scene popping off.
yeah, this scene was around. I just didn't know where it was
Yeah.
until we started playing shows. And now
Yeah.
like we know so many pop punk and emo bands, it's unreal. But like one of my sort of like North Star thoughts for like why I wanted to do this was like very naively like, oh, nobody does this shit anymore. I really miss it. And then of course we've,
Yeah.
collectively and myself had found out that like actually the scene is alive and extremely thriving. It's just like in a different way now than probably it was in whatever when I was a little kid, 1999, 2000.
Yeah.
Shout out 1999.
Exactly. Why do you think that is that the scenes like I mean, obviously you got it in your head, what, in 2019, like I want to write hooks, I want to do this again because I miss this type of music. How do you, why what do you kind of what do you kind of, pinpoint to the reason this resurgence kind of has happened? Not just for emo, but pop punk as well. I mean, there's, with Blink coming back and
Mhm.
everything like that. Green Day still obviously always touring, but I mean, there's a lot of pop punk bands that have just been,
With
you know,
MGK inventing it.
I was gonna say the
car
machine
a
gun,
lot.
and Machine
Yes,
Gun
yeah, yeah,
Kelsey
yeah.
came through and invented the genre.
I was
No,
gonna say the
Shout out the
same
goat.
thing.
yeah.
Shout out our
Uh,
friend Ronald Rapke. Yeah.
Yeah, shout out to all of our friends, dear friends. I think that music, like many things, like you see it in fashion too, right? Especially right
Yeah,
now, things are cyclical, and I think that we are just in that sort of like. I know that like I wasn't around for like the very beginning of it, but I feel like there was a sensibility when Blink 182 kind of was like on that like trajectory from like let's say like an early record like Buddha to like where they became. There was almost like a feeling that something was happening. And I think
mhm,
that we're just kind of on that sort of like at that like Buddha
yeah,
moment right now where like
Dude,
you can see the slingshot loading,
yep,
and this is what's going like whatever happens is going to happen. And I think what has been happening is kind of a cool mishmash of like people that love pop punk but are also taking it in other directions, such as Origami Angel or like Winona Fighter, who like people that play pop songs but are
of our show, yeah.
like really taking their own, like making it their own and
yes,
taking it all in their own directions. And I think that that's one of the many things that's kind of cool about what's happening right now, in my opinion.
I've heard recently, like when you came up in a conversation with a friend of ours, Lisa, at Stereotherapy, and she was talking about like
Mhm.
Old Neon, like they're very ingrained in like the Pittsburgh scene and stuff, like it's thriving. And we had our friend Gabe Woodward came on the show recently, and he
Yeah.
mentioned like same thing he's mentioned talking about Pittsburgh, like it sounds like there's a strong local scene there and just in the region. And I'd say in general, like same thing with like you mentioned like DIY emo. Like I think right now emo is better than it's ever been
Mhm.
musically, creatively. This stuff shits on the stuff when I was when we were kids, you know, like
Yeah, I
and it's
agree.
so I mean, there's
Yeah.
great stuff either way, but overall,
Well, I agree to a point. I did see Sunny Day Real Estate recently, and it just blew my fucking skull out of
oh
my
yeah, no. I'm not. Yeah, I'm comparing third way. Yeah,
yeah,
if we're doing an official ranking, yeah,
yeah,
second wave is probably the first one, just out of respect. But like fifth wave, this modern emo stuff might be right
sure,
there. But I noticed with emo, like there seems to be a very thick community that doesn't seem so much like
yeah.
locally based. It's very like these kids are kind of terminally online, for better or worse. There's a lot more online community. Whereas with pop punk, it seems like it's more there's local scenes and regional scenes, but it seems a little more disjointed online. Am I off base on that? Or
I guess I couldn't really. What I will say before anything else is Pittsburgh is red hot right now. I mean, like if you're a band and you are not coming through Pittsburgh and like meeting and playing shows with the bands here, you're making a big mistake because this scene is absolutely on fire. And I mean, I've spent time in New York City, Philly, all up and down the East Coast, and like Pittsburgh just has something going
Really?
on. So it's weird because it doesn't feel like the place or the time, but
Yeah.
also like people probably said that about Seattle too, you know,
yeah,
Probably.
because it was like, you know, like a lumberjack town or whatever. I don't actually know that, but you know what I mean? It was like
they
a,
were doing
Yes.
they were doing
Yes.
lumberjackery.
it was like a, it
Yeah.
was like a
Yes.
blue collar
And
space,
that's
you
No,
know?
and that's
you don't
kind of how
realize yeah, you don't
Pittsburgh is too.
realize those
Yeah.
things are happening until afterwards too. But it's the same thing with like I've lived in San Diego and LA my entire adult life. And I grew up at high school. I went to school in Alberta, Canada, where same thing, very blue collar, very like, you know, like industrial, hardworking kind of thing. And I noticed there was more of that sense of like community and drive
Hmm.
there,
Sure.
you know, with in terms of our music scene compared to like San Diego. I had a tight, you know, little group of friends in our bands, but like overall community wise, you didn't really know what was going on in the other, you know, the next neighborhood over. Like there wasn't
Sure.
kind of that thing. And then LA is obviously LA. It's not even, it's just its own weird corporate thing. But like I would say like, because Pittsburgh, you know, I'm thinking the last 20, 30 years, they've produced some of my favorite like punk rock bands, honestly, some of my favorite rappers as well. You know,
Sure.
like there seems to be like, do you think there's like a natural like Steel City grit or like extra like kind of work ethic that you guys are raised in with out there? Is it something in the water? Or is it just kind
I
of
don't
boring
know.
because you got 4 months of, you know, 4 months of bad weather?
I think unity is part of it because we do definitely band together and lift each other up. But I also feel like you said, there are definitely bands from here that have gone on to do, and artists in general that have gone on to do more because, you know, the scene lifts you up to a certain point and then like there's a buzz happening and then whatever happens from that point either happens or doesn't. I don't know. I'm not a like
Yeah.
lifer in the music industry, so I couldn't speak to that. But
Yeah.
it definitely feels like a groundswell of something. Maybe I'm not the person to articulate it properly. Maybe Zach
There's
could.
Rack's
I
more
don't
of a
know.
listener. He's a therapist. Yeah.
He's
He's your
like, tell me
listener.
your problems.
So
Yeah.
true, bestie. I don't know if I'm the person to articulate it, but what I will say is, yeah, there's definitely something in the Mon River water. If it has anything to do with the music, I don't know. But
Yeah.
there's something.
There's something in there.
There's something in there.
Just good to know.
I think they've been trying to figure it out for a long time.
Well, hopefully they have. What about the venues in Pittsburgh? Like, how are the venues as far as like, are they very welcoming to the bands? I assume they are. If there's such a burgeoning scene, I imagine that you have some pretty great venues out there that you can go to. Or are we talking house shows or, you know, what's the scene out there look like in that regards?
I think like most, again, I don't know most places, but I'm
Yes.
assuming I can extrapolate based on what little I know is that there are some cool DIY spots in Pittsburgh. The famous one is Mr. Roboto Project, where like bands of all shapes and sizes can come in and play to like I think it's like a 75-ish 100 cap room with a bunch of bands in a sweaty, like small room, but it is a venue and the sound is, you know, fairly good. And then there's like, you know, like 200 to 300 cap rooms that I think like any town, like some are very responsive and kind and like want
Yeah.
you. to come work and draw a bunch of money for them. And other places weirdly are very standoffish and like won't respond to
Yeah.
emails. And I have to assume it's like that everywhere, just because there's always like the people that are selected to kind of be the tastemakers and the people that run these things aren't necessarily the people that know which bands are working well.
Mhm.
I know recently we had a situation. So our band draws, over 200, usually under 400. And I was trying to get just 100 cap room because we just wanted to have like a hot, sweaty show to like sell out and sell a ton of beer and like just have a party. And
Yeah.
it was like pulling teeth to get 100 cap room to respond to us,
Yes.
even just to say like, okay. And there's a part of my head that's like, man, like, you can just look at our Instagram and see how many people we draw. Like this is like a huge win for your business,
Yeah.
especially if you have a
Yeah.
bar, because like we've been told by larger venues that like our crowd,
Your fans be spending that money at
our
the bar.
crowds
Yeah.
drink. Not only do they drink, but they tip. So it's like a win for everyone.
Oh yeah.
And I've been told that explicitly by numerous establishment owners. And once that happens, it's definitely easier to come back to those places. But some other people can just still be weird about it. I don't know. I don't know what the proper.
Do you think it's been like I don't know? Yeah, I don't know if this is an actual word, but like I know out here, especially like it's been like corporatized, like bigger, like investment firms and like, Live Nations and other promoters have gotten involved where it's less, I mean, 20, 30, 10, 50, however many years ago, depending on where you live and stuff. Like it was, yeah, a family owned a venue. Maybe they had someone that helped book it. They helped book it. It was kind of on them to bring heads. You tell people, and then it flipped to a point where it's like, okay, well, you need to sell 10 to 50 tickets yourself, like, and then it became those venues kind of got swallowed up by bigger people to where like, yeah, that like direct hand to hand, like, hey, let me come play your venue. We'll bring 50 people doesn't have like the same effect because like there's too many channels to go through.
I think Pittsburgh is a little bit of an outlier I think what you're expressing is generally probably true of
But
like
it's a little
bigger
different there
cities.
though.
Pittsburgh is very weird in that it is not really as affected yet. I mean, it will, it's going to happen obviously, but Pittsburgh
Yeah.
has not. It's one of the places, it's like one of, I believe, two places, us in Detroit, where you can still buy like a 4 or 5 bedroom house for $200,000.
That does
Like
not happen
nice,
very
like in
often.
good condition in a nice
Yeah.
neighborhood. So Pittsburgh's economy is a little bit of an outlier even in the US, where like there
Yeah.
are a lot more like home businesses. You can run a business here as just like
Yeah.
if you and I wanted to open a bar, that stuff is possible in Pittsburgh where it may not be in Chicago or Philly or
Yeah.
New York.
It's true.
So I think more often what we've run into is that it's genre based, is that like
Mm.
people see pop punk and maybe it's like the cool indie venue and they're like,
Yeah.
that
No.
Yeah.
this is Juvenilia, or like
They're like, you're not the Strokes.
Been,
We're
been there,
Exactly.
brother. Yeah, no, I know. Yeah,
like,
no. It's this funny thing,
yeah,
like pop punk
exactly.
in a certain age range. Like like I like wherever when we talk with our friends, I'm like, when people start getting worked up, I'm like, I've got to remind everyone, like in the grand scheme of music, pop punk, like this is like teen comedy music to
Right.
people. You know what I mean?
True.
Like instance what I prefer this and that, but I mean compared to the Mozarts or whatever, this is looked at like this.
Sure.
Like none of this is that important. I mean, not that anything really is, but like we are gonna get disrespected. Same thing. Where like I grew in like aging. It's like, well, I want to play these venues or something like that, or I want to play these bands, and there's like I listened to that when I was a kid, where, yeah, there's
Yeah.
a resurgence now where people are coming back around to it, but especially for like 10 years there, it was kind of this like
There's
disrespect towards
definitely a
pop punk.
vibe. Yeah, there's definitely a vibe of, we would rather rent our space out or give our space out to someone who sounds like Wilco but will sell 30 tickets rather than
Hmm.
you who will sell 200 tickets because your music isn't cool or whatever.
Hmm.
But I
Yeah.
think that is also kind of changing for us as like two
Good.
things I think are happening. One, we're getting to know more of those people in the scene who book, and we're doing like a good job for them, and then they want us to come back and they're excited about it. That's one. We're also like a very low maintenance, like we do everything that is asked of us by the sound person, and like just being cool goes a long way. And
Yes.
the other thing too is that, to the point you were mentioning before, is I think this kind of music is like on that like upward trajectory, and so now it doesn't feel as weird for people to book it.
Yeah. No, 100%, I agree. Now that it's kind of in the mainstream again, and guitar music especially is in the mainstream again, I think that people are more apt to book it. I think, what was it, Rolling Stones? Are they the ones that had the article recently saying that rock music, as far as like concerts, sold like the most tickets or made the most money this year with concerts, because more people are going to guitar infused like concerts
It's
versus
interesting. I wonder
your
what that
Sabrina
means.
Carpenters.
Yeah, hip hop had like a 10-year run there where hip hop was the only thing that mattered, hip hop and pop. And then the last like
Yeah.
3 to 4 years have been very country driven. And that country thing seems to be it's gonna wear out in the next 1 or 2 years, and it's gonna come back around. And there's gonna be a wide opening for bigger pop punk bands. Yes, they won't be playing stadiums, but there will be opportunities to be like radio bands and this and that. Like it's coming.
It's a cool idea. It's also kind of worrisome for us, I think, because with that comes a sort of like you alluded to earlier, like a corporatocracy or like a
Mm.
commodification
Yeah.
process that happens. And so
Mhm.
then I wonder if like we end up getting pushed out of that bubble for another MGK or whatever.
That's That's the thing when I say like if the new wave of emo is better than the third wave, my reasoning for that is just like in the 2000s with the TRL, the MTV, all this stuff, like it's
Mhm.
so big commercially that there's so many like cosplayers and cultural appropriators and the like who are like, oh, we do this, but now we're going to be a pop punk band because this is the thing and this is that. And they start filling up and it muddies the waters and people can't really
Sure.
tell who's, yeah, exactly. Like the authentic bands will kind of get fucked. That's how we're in positions now where you look back and I'm sure there's bands that you love that were smaller than say a much bigger band. And you're like, oh, what happened there? It's like, brother, it got on the radio and people started copying it and labels
Sure.
wanted it.
Yeah. A lot
So
to think
let's
about.
Exactly. So let's bring it back to old neon music, because I'm curious. Obviously, you had mentioned, Cartel starting line, but and you guys could speak to your own experiences. I'm sure, the other gentlemen aren't here, but speak to me a little bit about your influences as terms of like when it comes to old neon music, what artists do you feel like really lend themselves to inspiring, your lyrics and the music that you're writing? I mean, are there any ones that come to mind offhand, like, that you grew up listening to that you really feel like you take them to heart when you're kind of, writing your hooks or creating your music?
As far as the whole band goes, you can't really pin down one because for the five of
Mhm.
us, we all have very, very vastly different preferences and
Interesting.
influence.
Yes.
We're all still under the umbrella of pop punk and emo, but like my favorite band of all time forever will be 4 Years Strong, and Sean fucking hates them so much.
Oh,
Sean,
no.
I don't know if I
Has
fucking
this
either.
caused fights before?
I definitely don't hate them though. He's exaggerating.
No. Eclipse better that way. Sean, yeah,
Yeah.
Sean from Old Neon hates
I
4 Years
hate
Strong,
4 Years
challenges them
Strong.
to fight. Thank you, Quip.
Yes.
Amanda got it. Thank you. Okay, we're
There we
good.
go.
We can wrap up. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think that is accurate. I mean, I don't hate them, but that's an accurate like uh that's an
I'm
accurate
gonna
kind
be
of like.
such a dick here and guess ages. Zach, are you 31?
No.
Am I
Do you want to guess
anywhere
again? Do you want me to
fucking
tell you?
close?
You're
33?
close. You're getting close.
29. 27.
Got it. Yeah,
This thing, yeah,
29.
4 Years Strong. Like
Yeah.
Sean, you're
I'm not
you're
doing
32.
this. I quit. Nope.
You're like,
Glad not
the
doing
second
it.
person to not reveal age on this show. You and my boy Will. You and Will Ramsey. But like, yeah, 4 Years Strong. I think like that's a band that like I just would have been slightly. Whereas I'm same thing. Like I'm sure if I was 22 in like 1998, Blink
Yeah, and
182 would
that's
have
a
been like,
big
fuck this. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
When I grew up, it was much more like on the tail end of like, well, not even on the tail end, like kind of in the heart of like Blink being the biggest band on the
Yeah.
Yeah.
planet.
Yeah.
and then still being interested in the genre when it was more going towards like the, like the no sleep records, like emo mixed with punk.
Yep.
Yeah, the hot topicy.
No, I mean like even after that, like,
Okay,
but yeah,
yeah.
like that's a good throughway too, because yeah, like Blink, and then yes, like My Chemical Romance and stuff like that. But then like more so like what drew me back in, because I had stopped listening to it altogether. Like the bands, when I started this band, I was like, man, when I was a kid, I loved Newfound Glory. Let me go do that.
Yeah.
And as I started digging in more, I realized like, oh, well, like Modern Baseball happened since then, and I
Yeah.
really
Wonder
like
Years,
that.
yeah.
And then like I found all these other bands on like Run for Cover and No Sleep, all those like, I don't know if they're big labels, but they seemed big to me, like
They're pretty,
popping up and like,
they feel in our world of, rubber cover, like they seem bigger. Like, I don't know if they actually are compared to the real world,
yeah,
but in our world, they're very influential. Yeah, for sure.
yeah. But like around 2010, 2013, I feel like that's when I started to like kind of come back into like an interest in pop punk.
Sweet spot
And
of like fourth wave emo and fucking pop punk kind of.
yeah,
There was a
Yeah.
pop punk resurgence around then too. I kind of was talking about recently where I wasn't huge on it at the time. You got the Wonder Years, the Knuckle
Wonder
Puck,
Years
Real
is
Friends,
huge.
things like
Wonder
that
Years.
start kind of.
Yeah, and that was also like a connector between Zach and I, because the Wonder Years are like one of our favorite bands. Even
There we
though,
go. You have something there.
yeah,
There we go,
so
yeah.
there is
Good,
stuff.
good.
There are things that we definitely agree on, but
Yeah.
I don't think, like, for instance, like I was joking about Wilco, but like I went to see Wilco play for like 3 hours the other day,
Yeah, it was pretty tight. Yeah.
and I'm sure I could safely say that Zach wouldn't do that. So it's like there's like an indie element to like my taste that I feel like nobody else shares. And like
Mhm.
Mike is a good example. Like he has like that sort of like 80s rock
Yeah.
taste that kind of nobody else shares. So
Okay.
we all have our things that are different, but we have enough like common ground where we can kind of dig
Yeah.
into that together.
Okay. So if that's the case, let's do a hypothetical here. You're making a burnt CD of 5 songs from 5, maybe the same band, maybe
Yeah.
different bands
You're
that you
doing it
feel
on Adele. It's on
influenced
Adele.
Old Neon as a whole, that represent each one of your like bandmates. What 5 songs would you guys put on there to represent each one of you in terms of your influences and what you love to listen to in Old Neon?
Do you want 5?
One from everyone in the band. Honest
Yes.
to God, this is like, I could not tell you what Mike or Drew listened to,
No,
truly.
you don't got to pick for those guys. Just do your own 5.
But just do your,
Okay.
if you want to
They
do
don't
your
get
own
choices.
too.
Yeah, we'll make
We
theirs
could,
up. Yeah,
yeah.
they
I
all
You
just
can
say
make,
gotcha.
5 times of My Humps by Black Eyed Peas. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what
Sorry,
Drew
guys.
would probably say is My Humps.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
not
just
true.
but
5 times on the touch
I'm
tunes.
throwing
Let's
him
go.
under the bus because he's not here.
he
Yeah.
doesn't love my hums. Yeah.
Sure. I am thinking. I am processing. I'm going to say one of
Go
my
ahead.
songs is There by the Wonder Years.
Mhm.
Another one of my songs is probably, you know what? I'm going to go like Latter Day, Sunny Day, and say the song The Rising Tide from The Rising Tide, Sunny Day Real Estate. I'm going to say the song that I can't remember maybe it's No Direction. The Regrets Are Worthless song that I don't remember the name of, from Midtown, Save the World, Lose the Girl.
Love
Shout out
it. Midtown.
Gabe.
Yeah, I guess for it.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite albums of all time.
Greatest pop punk bands of all time.
I
The
know.
biggest should have, like,
And
I
I'll say,
truly
like,
believe they made Cobra famous because Midtown should have been. Like, it was.
yeah. Also, my hot take is that is the best drive-through release.
Is that Midtown record?
That Save the World, Lose the
Yeah.
Girl is the best drive-through release. Laugh if you must.
Rob's gonna be thinking about that for a while now.
I'm gonna think about that all night. You might be right.
I would always say Midtown.
Song
I'm
4. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Nothing. I'm just gonna be thinking about that all night. Sorry, you just derailed my brain for a week.
Song 4 is Lime Tree by Bright Eyes, the closer on Casadega.
Yeah.
Song 5.
Casadega is kind of a surprise there too. Like, I think, like, because the release before that kind of gets so much hype. Like, Casadega felt big, like, and then like People's Key kind of like it feels like it falls off, like to a degree.
Yeah,
or it just Bright Eyes changes maybe, but
Yeah.
Casadega is maybe that last great Bright Eyes record.
I also think that it has like a lot of sleeper songs on it that people like that record for good. There are bad songs on it, don't get me wrong. No offense, Connor Overs. But
I think every Bright Eyes record
He'll be okay.
honestly has like a clunker or two. Yeah.
but like Classic Cars is one of the best Bright Eyes
That was the
songs.
one
And
I was
that's
thinking
on,
was
yeah.
Classic Cars, bro.
And
That was
that's
literally the
on
one.
there. Obviously, the Four Winds song, Hot Knives is on there. Like, there's some just
Yeah.
awesome songs on that record. And then song 5, I want to go more towards like my taste, and I would probably say like The Trapeze Swinger by Iron and Wine, because Sam
Wine,
Mead,
First
okay.
Iron
Love
and
it.
Wine mention on Emo Kids
That is the
Anonymous.
first,
Yeah.
yes.
40 episodes deep. Shit.
And also, oh shit, I meant to put him in here, but like honorable mention to
It's a it's your bird CD.
honorable mention to either the first track or that song about Here We Have a Dust-Free Dining Set. That I can't remember what it's called, but Pedro the Lion's Control is like a seminal album for me. So just pretty much anything off of that. Okay, go Zach.
This guy knows ball.
Yeah.
Yeah. What a pull. Pedro the Lion, Bright Eyes. Like you do, yeah, you have a much more indie leaning side there, kind of.
Yeah.
Were you a
Yeah.
Spin Magazine kid? Did you love getting like the Spin Magazine every now and then you get your hands on it?
No, I was never a magazine person, but I was like,
Magazines are sick.
I was definitely in the, like digging up like alt versions, like acoustic versions of like Iron and Wine songs on YouTube, and like Damien Jurado songs, and like all those like sort of like early day indie kind of folk adjacent singer songwriters.
I call it like mid 2000s Coachella music. Like before
Exactly,
Coachella
yeah,
became Coachella,
for
it was
sure.
like that mid, like not like it's like right after like the sleaze core, like the
Right.
sleaze
Yeah.
indie scene. Right after that, there's that. Yeah, it's like Bright Eyes, Rilo, those kind of artists right
When I
there.
think of Iron and Wine, I think that's music Zach Braff would put on one of his movies.
For sure.
Garden State adjacent, yeah.
That's a Garden. Oh,
Yeah.
they were on the Garden State soundtrack, but
That's
yeah.
a Zach Braff MySpace song for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
100%, yes.
And Zach doesn't know what that means, but it was very much a thing. Being Zach
He does.
Braff's
He's younger than
song,
us. He's younger than us. He doesn't know, yeah.
Back then, being Zach Braff's
That's
profile
Zach.
song was like a career maker for indie music.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah. It's a huge deal.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you're on
With
a Zach Braff
soundtracks.
soundtrack,
Yeah.
yes.
I know Zach Braff because I love Scrubs,
Yeah.
but I didn't.
Yeah, it's the
know
motherfucker from
lore.
Scrub.
Back in the day, there was a social media. Yeah. Back in the day, there was a social media site called MySpace, Zach.
I had MySpace.
Okay. So do you remember when you could have like your own profile song?
Yes.
So like back in like the mid 2000s, maybe early like 2005 and later, if you were Zach Braff's profile song, that means like you were an obscure folk band that he found. And it was like a career maker for you.
It was like the Oprah Book Club for like,
exactly.
dudes in Pittsburgh.
It was that or the OC. If you were like an indie band that somehow was like Seth Cohen's favorite band.
Yeah, Seth Cohen and Zach Braff were like the tastemakers of 2000s Weird Girls. Yeah.
Indie.
For sure.
Weird Girls. Yes.
Yeah. Shout out to the Weird
Girls.
Girls. Yeah. Yeah. Shout out to the Weird Girls. Yeah.
All right, Zach, what about your burnt CD? What would you put on there?
You had so much time to think.
Yeah, you're a little younger. Were you like a LimeWire guy, or did you would have been straight on torrents, huh? Were you just Pirate Bay? What were you stealing your music on?
Yeah, Pirate Bay.
It's statute limitations is passed. You can admit it.
Or
Don't be
has
weird.
like
you're good.
you just get on Apple and you're like, this is it for me now.
No. I took a lot of music from LimeWire and FrostWire. I did.
FrostWire. I didn't know about that one. Shit. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the successor to LimeWire, maybe.
Yeah.
I feel like they
Think
existed
so.
at the same time.
Drafting an email to the FBI as we speak.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. I know.
Okay.
I'm
Where are you
upset,
listening?
brother. Yeah.
It's fine.
Slap 'em on me. I would go Learn to Love the Lie by 4 Years Strong.
I thought you were going to say that Eminem song, yeah. Is that Love the Way You Lie?
I love the way you lie.
Yeah, I was like,
I love the way you
that
lie.
one sucks.
Yeah.
Okay, keep going. Sorry.
No, yeah. Even though that's off of a later release of theirs, it's my #1 most streamed song out of all of them. I've listened to it over 1,000 times. A lot of time with that song. I'm insane.
And over how many years we're talking there, brother? That's numbers.
It came out in 2020. It's a pretty good pace I've maintained.
200 a
Zach
year.
used to
Yeah.
Zach used to send us his like Spotify raps, and it was like 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 long form podcast numbers, but all 4 Year Strong songs, and like and then like every album was a 4 Year Strong song, and then he would add that doesn't include the times that I spun their vinyl because he owns all their vinyls too. Zach is like the super fan of that band, which
I can
is
relate to this, Zach, but now it's 4 Years Strong.
like he just made a huge mistake by saying that I hate them, because now they're gonna see that and have a rivalry with us.
Right, yeah.
And now you'll never get to open for them.
The rivalry starts. I'm sorry, Zach.
I've sabotaged myself.
You did.
Yeah. But yeah, he's right. For the past like 5 years straight, I've been in my Spotify Wrapped has said like you're in the top 0.05% of their fans, and
1%er.
And I wear it like
you
that.
occupied 4 Year Strong
really
Spotify. Hell yeah.
Yeah. So that would be track 1. Empty Space by The Story So Far. That was the first song of theirs I heard.
Empty Space.
And
right.
I would say, oh, that's so tough. I mean, honestly, like, I went in chronological order by virtue of like, me starting to listen to them around the time that I did. So I would say like if you start with Under Soil and Dirt and move on up, it gets really good. Though I will say like Proper Dose and their most recent record, which the name of the record is escaping me. I'm losing.
Can't remember it either. That's funny.
I'm so embarrassed. Anywho, they're both really, really great.
Under Soil and Dirt.
I would say.
And Proper Dose? Okay, yeah.
Proper Dose is like, kind of like a...
I Want to Disappear is
my favorite, and it's their newest. Yeah, really great record.
Really great. So those two, Washington Square Park by the Wonder Years. The Upsides was very life-changing for me. I'm already down to 2. It's very tough.
I added another song and a full record, so
yeah. You're kind of having to. We're doing like MP3 files, not WAV files. Like you got to really fucking slam them onto this disc.
Yeah. So if I still have space on the disc, I'll add a couple. Motion Sickness by Neck Deep.
Mm.
Homebody Neck Deep by Microwave. That record of Microwaves is
first Microwave mention on the pod too. What a fucking pull! I feel like that's a very, very, very underrated band.
Absolutely, I totally agree. I love them so much.
Very fucking underrated. Yes.
Yeah, I don't know any other bands who like from album to album just change so radically the way that they have, and they just find ways to make things new for them, which I just really enjoy. It's like every album I have no idea what I'm getting, and it's exciting.
Let me ask you a question real quick. Were you a fan of the band? Because I feel like you're right in this sweet spot here. Were you ever a fan of the band Sports and the record Demon Days?
No, I've never.
Okay. Yeah, rips. It's my personal favorite fourth wave emo record. I love that shit. I think we're talking with them tomorrow, actually.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. Amanda, yeah, we gotta look at the calendar. I'm pretty sure they're on tomorrow.
No, we are.
That's a great one that I would highly recommend checking out. It's a little more emo, but like it's same like right in that era, like that like 2011 to 2018 sweet spot of like pop punk emo that I feel like you're right in.
Duly noted. I'll check it out for sure.
All right. Well, we're on song 5. 4.
Yeah, and I'm gonna add an honorable mention. I feel.
Go ahead.
Gotta do it.
Yeah, it's your disc, brother.
Sean's gonna get a kick out of this, because we went together to see the Wonder Years, and Spanish Love Songs were opening for them.
Mm-hmm. You hate them.
I went in and I thought that I knew who Spanish Love Songs were, and I thought that I didn't like them, but I was entirely wrong.
No.
I had them confused with a different band entirely.
Bro,
And
that's like
so, and so,
that's like Springsteen punk rock, bro. Like, yeah, they're great.
yeah,
Springsteen emo, I call
yeah,
it. Yeah, Springsteen emo punk.
I
Yeah,
like that
yeah,
sort of like
Mm-hmm.
Americana pop punk
that's my
crossover too.
favorite
Like,
genre on the
yeah,
planet, bro. Yeah, I literally 5 minutes before this
yeah,
episode started, I made a post where it's like my favorite thing in the world is bands that sound like they want to sound like Bruce Springsteen. You know, like
right, sure.
my good buddy Nate. I'm actually in a fantasy football league with him. Shout out Nate. I believe he either introduced or was in a very early iteration of Spanish love songs, and to this day, he's still a little salty about it. He'd be like, yeah, and then those guys went and just made a band with this other, and then like they became Spanish fucking love songs. And I'm like, well, they're doing pretty good. You can't be too mad, you know. They made the right
Right.
call.
yeah,
But yeah, great band.
yeah. I would probably pick Losers. That record, Brave Faces Everyone, is also now out, probably like a desert island record for me.
Crazy because you hate them so much.
It's so funny because before Amanda asked this question, I was going to ask you to pick 3 records you'd bring on a desert island, but then Amanda
Oh,
asked
sure.
the mixtape, and I was like, shit, I feel like it's
All
the
right.
same thing. Like, well, no, you're good. You're good. You're
No,
good.
this is yeah.
They say the same thing. Well, after this
Yes.
one, we'll ask that one anyway. Fuck it. Yeah.
Yeah. And I get my honorable mention, I suppose, would be Where Light Divides the Holler by Knocked Loose.
Go. Okay.
Some
Okay.
heavy stuff.
Yes.
I was going to say, there we go. Yeah. Typical drummer pick right there. You got to get a little heavier when
Yes.
you're fucking slamming on them. Who is this friend of yours in your arms there?
I know. I'm
distracted
like,
as
you're
fuck by
distracting me
all-
with the cat.
Oh, fucking Gary Garfield. Who's this motherfucker?
This is my cat Prez.
Who's
Perez?
Perez?
Like Hilton?
And he's very handsome. Prez, like short for president.
Shit. Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
You named him after Donald
So-
because he's orange?
No, don't
Well, so you're halfway there. You're halfway there. So he showed up on the eve of my birthday 4 years ago, and so people
Okay.
were like,
When's your
he's like-
birthday?
you should name him. It's April 10th. So he showed up on April
Birthday.
9th, 2021. He just straight up ran inside my house whenever my roommate at the time opened my door. And so, yeah, people were like, "Oh, he's like a present. You should name him Present." I was like, "That's a weird name for a cat, Present."
yeah.
Fred.
Yeah. It's kind of like, yeah. That's a fat girl name.
And
Yeah.
so then I was like, well, if I shorten it to Prez, maybe we have something there. And then I was like, oh, and also by unfortunate modern day standards, his orangish hue
Yeah.
makes him qualified for
Yeah.
To be
Yeah.
president.
He's got that beautiful orange. Yeah.
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 Look at he is.
He is.
You're grabbing.
is
You're
enjoying
grabbing him by
that.
the. All right. Yeah. This is
Golly.
tensions on the pod. We've been.
You
We've
see
been
that
funny.
fresh face boy?
I challenged Donald Trump to
Sorry.
a fight on social
Between
media.
the- but
He
yeah.
would not
You
fight
did
me.
on Twitter
Good.
or like
I think
So
Instagram
he
or
was
text?
in. I would absolutely beat the fucking
He's
shit out of
fucking
him,
crushed that shit. Yeah. I fucking. Hell yeah.
and I would do it happily. No, but he was in at
God
CMU,
bless you.
and my girlfriend works there, and
Oh, Carnegie Mellon, yeah.
yeah, Carnegie Mellon, doing some stupid shit that he probably doesn't even understand, and
I'm sure.
Probably?
well,
Yeah.
definitely doesn't understand.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. For that.
So I put up a tweet and was like, "Bro, I'm in
Oh, wow.
Pittsburgh. You're in Pittsburgh. Fucking let's fight." And he didn't respond, unfortunately.
It's good you didn't
Did you
get
put
a
it on
knock
Truth
on your door
Social?
either,
You should have
yeah.
put it on Truth Social. He would
No,
have
nobody
responded.
showed up.
That's good, yeah. Because I sent some texts where I'm
didn't
like,
know that.
shit, that door's about to knock, and you're just sending straight up threats on social media. I
Yeah.
Not a
Respect,
threat, like
Sean.
just no,
Just
not
straight
a
up.
threat.
An
Man to man,
invitation.
man to man,
invitation.
fucking fight me,
Yeah.
and I will
Formal proposal.
exactly.
It
It's
was
not a
yeah.
threat.
A duel, if you will.
You surprised
Pistols
me.
and
I'm,
pistols.
so I'm like, this is a nice, shy guy, and I'm just like, this might be the funniest guy that's ever came on the show. I'm like,
Because I want to
fuck.
fight Donald Trump.
I was like, you've been killing me for a while. I'm like, yeah, this dude's great. Big fan. Okay. Desert Islands, real quick. Yeah, you got 3 albums. You're on a desert island. I don't know. They got some sort of outlet or batteries or something like that where you can play 3 records. What's your 3 records?
I don't even know. I guess Pedro the Lion's Control would be one for sure. Lifted by Bright Eyes.
Great pick. Great pick.
Need something like fun.
Yeah, because you're gonna be bored as fuck on this island. Yeah.
Yeah, because I've got two kind of downer records.
Yeah, Lifted is kind of like a nighttime
Yeah,
rainy record, and it doesn't do a lot of rain on this island, I don't think. Yeah.
Let's go
makes you
with.
miss the rain.
This is a really tough final pick because it has to be like a pop. Well, let's go Save the World, Lose the Girl by Midtown. Perfect.
Hey, there
Great
we
pick.
go.
I was going to say right there. Yeah. Well, the declared greatest record in the history of
I
Yeah.
could
drive-through
just
records.
re-listen
Greatest
to
drive-through
Gabe's
Quick
release
drive-through
of
records
all time.
question. As I'm sure you know, Richard Raines, owner of drive-through, is a big thing at the time where like you'd have to like walk on his back while he listened to your music. You know about this, right?
I only
Would
knew
you
that after the fact. I never knew when
Yeah.
that was
Oh
happening.
yeah, no,
Most
there was
people,
this band All Star Weekend that was like a San Diego band. They were like a Disney band, but before they were a Disney band, they were managed by them. It was after Drive Through was done, but I remember like I asked them straight up, I was like, y'all walk on that motherfucker's back? My question is like, would you have walked on this man's back for a record deal?
Yeah, probably. I mean, like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not the one sexualizing it. He
Yeah,
is.
right.
So
Yeah,
what,
yeah.
what do I
You're like,
care?
I'm just going for a walk, baby.
My opinion on the matter is just like if you need to get off to me when I'm not there, you just go ahead and do it, man. Like it's all your fantasy. I just don't want to be a party to it, is all. So like if I can walk on his back and then leave, then whatever.
I would have worn a
He does it
second
after
pair
the
of
fact.
socks. I need that extra layer between
Yeah.
us and the perversion. But yeah, I get you. Respect. All right, Zach. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, not the backwalking question, but the 3 records. You're on Desert Island. What do you got, brother?
Rise or Die Trying by 4 Years Strong, The Greatest Generation by The Wonder Years,
That was
and I guess Love by Microwave.
There we go.
All in fucking 3. Okay.
I know these are solid 3 for both of them. Now, here's a question in regards to Old Neon. If you were to, I know Rob had asked, where to start, right, with songs for Story So Far. If we were to, where do we point our viewers and listeners if we're like, these are the essential songs from Old Neon you need to start with? If you guys could each choose your own, what would you pick from your catalog? What 3 songs would you pick to introduce someone to Old Neon?
3 songs.
3 songs, yes.
I would
pick tracks.
Yeah.
I would pick Better Son from the new record, from the new EP. I would pick probably Nobody's Burden from the new EP.
Yeah.
I listened to that literally like an hour and a half ago, or I mean, 2.5 hours ago now. But yeah, I was just popping that.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And I think that's a good I think representation. So like our band, so maybe this is the best way to do this. Our band has like 3 main songwriters. And I think that when you hear Better Son, you hear like me and like my more indie side. When you hear Nobody's Burden, you hear B and like their kind of like poppy sensibilities and like really fast, like go get 'em writing. And I think for Drew, I would pick.
You're like, fuck, I can't remember my own goddamn catalog. That's why you need that teleprompter's up there once you hit like 2 or 3 records. Yeah, it gets tough.
It's funny because when we went to see Wilco, he was using a teleprompter, and my girlfriend was like shocked. Like he doesn't remember his own songs. I'm like, no, he's fucking 100.
You're like, dude, you're like, shit, yeah. No, like let's be reasonable here. No.
They all have teleprompters. Yeah.
I think for my representation of, I would probably actually pick Stalling. I would pick the song Better Things. Because it kind of has that, like, it has all the things that Drew is, which is like a great hook writer, but it also
feels like
has
a quintessential Old Neon song.
We never play it live, but I like
it,
so it's just my choice. Yeah,
interesting.
Very good.
I would say Better Son, Nobody's Burden, and Blizzard, which is also a Drew song.
Yeah, Blizzard's a Drew song. That was I was on the fence about Blizzard, but
excellent. So now we know what we need. Our fans need to start with.
So when we're talking multiple songwriters coming to the table like that, is it so much like you're like, hey, like you're bringing it like, hey, this is a Sean song, this is a Drew song, or is it kind of like, hey, I have this idea. I got these chords and this melody, and then homeboys hopping in and adding like a this, and then maybe we're collaborating on a bridge, or are we bringing complete songs and they're kind of broken up that way?
It's a bit so there is a variable. Go ahead, Zach. You were gonna
I,
answer.
I was gonna say it kind of depends. Or
Okay.
some of the songs that we have, many of them were songs that, like, whenever Drew has started writing in the past, he would have an idea, see it through, and bring us like a pretty fully fleshed out demo. With the EP that we just released, we were very intentional in doing some things differently and making it more collaborative from the get. And so with an exception, in a sense, being Better Son, because that song, like, we recorded an entirely different version of it that we were going to put out on the last EP, the previous one, and then we decided to scrap it because Sean had like an epiphany of a vision of it that is the one that now is out and everyone can listen to. Yeah, whenever we were writing the last EP, it was mostly we had maybe some bones of a song, maybe we had a beginning and nothing more, but we just really wanted to focus on writing in this room together and piecing things together, trying out some things, eliminating some things. And along the way, we worked with Matt Brash of the Wonder Years on the EP. He helped us with some elements of the writing and the pre-production, and he engineered and tracked everything. And that really changed our perspective, I think, at least mine, on what writing means and how we can do it in a way that is more intentional and really leaves no stone unturned. Yeah, I think we're still looking for ways to refine, because sometimes being very collaborative can be difficult. And
Yeah.
so we're
Specifically for me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Ryan's
it's
like, I
tough.
don't fuck with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
and I'm not a songwriter, so like it's easy for me to be collaborative because I'm usually, it's not like my song being changed, right?
Yeah.
But I can respect that the folks who are songwriters, there's a different attachment than I have as the drummer. But anywho, yeah, we're looking for ways that we can make that process even better, but still collaborative in nature, just in a way that works better for everyone.
I know for
that's important.
for my piece, I actually had to start therapy because like I have so much trouble letting go of
Control.
control
The
and
songs are
like
your babies. You're like, this is the way it is. There's less compromise on.
yeah, it's definitely like an evolution that I'm at the very beginning of now, but hopefully, someone might say I'm easy to work with someday. We'll see. But
Zach, what do you? Yeah, as the
Z-
therapist here, you
Zach,
started therapy. It was when Zach joined the band, right? Like Zach, you got to bill him for
Zach's
these
like, you
fucking
need to.
hours, bro. Jesus Christ. Like, yeah, like the progress is there, right? Yeah.
Zach did give me a list of therapists to reach out to, so he
That
was
is
very
really
helpful.
Run a
very
little,
good.
yeah, with the
Yeah,
with the homies. Were they like,
I've been
fellow colleagues, or were they like ones that you heard of? I don't know how the therapist industry.
not
I don't. Yeah.
yeah
I have a child
not
with a
people
therapist,
that
so
I
I
knew.
kind of know how the therapist thing works. I have a child with one. I hope you're easier to deal with than she is at times, but like, yeah, like,
Like,
yeah, I understand the industry runs deep. There's a
Probably
lot of
not,
connections. Yeah.
honestly.
Like, this guy's a fucking nightmare.
Yeah, I'm sure that I'm a nightmare, depending on, you know.
Well, it's
I
with
know
the
that when
songwriting stuff too, it comes right out of you too. It's such an intimate thing that it's hard
it
to
really
separate
is.
yourself from sometimes, especially when you take it like in the pop world is one thing because it's like you're trying to throw your ideas out, but as someone like you're talking about like Bright Eyes and like these artists like you're an indie kid from like kind of the same era I am, where it's like these songs we come from an era where like the songs were written by one guy, wrote the songs for these things, and this is my vision, and then someone comes in and changes it. Like it does take an adjustment to get used to it. I've had the same thing, so I definitely get it.
Especially when, like, not to go super dark, but like Better Son is a song about my uncle dying when he was like 35. So it's like a very personal memory and a very like
Yeah.
sacred point of interest for me. And so I think that like it's really hard to let go of things like that where
Yeah.
you want you have this song that you've written about someone who's been gone a long time but meant so much to you, and the very idea of like it not measuring up to like the idea of like it being good enough either in your eyes or someone else's eyes to be like a fitting tribute to a person that was like extremely not only meaningful but who like is gone now and can't like even, you can't even deliver it to them in the way that you would hope.
Yeah.
It's like a lot there's like a lot of baggage attached to that.
That can be difficult sometimes to
Mhm.
then have
For sure.
someone come through and say, "Well, I think maybe we should change
I think we
this.
should change up the
Yeah.
Maybe
bridge.
these
Yeah, what if we
lyrics
did
need to
that
be."
bridge in
Yeah,
halftime,
you're
brother?
like
Yeah.
you're like, "But
This
that's
verse doesn't really
not
make
Yeah.
how."
sense. Yeah, the timing's off on it. Why
Yeah.
don't you change up the melody, which throws off your lyrical fucking, your idea completely because you have to
Well,
eliminate
yeah.
words.
Yeah.
Even more specifically, there was the original version of Better Son, and Zach knows this. But there was a line in it that was like so intimate and so visceral that it made other people in the band uncomfortable
What was
to
that?
the point where it's like it was something about so like when I was 14, I was institutionalized, and it was kind of like about what led up to that,
Okay,
and
gotcha.
it was like almost like it was like so much for some people that it was like this is dark in a way that feels uncomfy to like speak about. And so we actually changed the second verse to like make it a little bit, even though like it's still pretty much like the same story, it's told in a much gentler way. And I think that like it's stuff like that that is like really hard to let go of because like in my mind, like I wanted that to be almost like
Yes.
hard to hear
Uncomfortable.
because
Yeah.
it yeah, because it
I
was
think
uncomfortable. Like,
art should very much be uncomfortable at times, I think. Like when as soon as you said the word like uncomfy, I was like, I mean, it's one thing with like pop punk, things feel so much like commercial driven or hook driven or like easy accessibility driven, but it's like at the end of the day, art should be like sometimes art should make you go, what the fuck? I hate this. You know what I mean? Like, or like I don't like this feeling that this gives me, like, because like it's at the end of the day, it's invoking an emotion. I get
yeah, and
that.
I think
Yeah.
you're always like riding this line, and anyone who's a writer, I'm sure will relate, where like we've all seen art that is over the line for the sake of being over the line to the point where
Yes.
it feels exploitive, and that is obviously like not what we're talking about in growth.
Yeah.
But
No,
like
no.
there are also things. I mean, this is like literally a quote from The Ugly Organ, which is an old cursive record. There are things that are
Yes,
too
we
dark
know the ugly organ.
to
Let's go,
comprehend.
Sean.
So like there's are things even in our like silly little 3-minute pop songs where like people are trying to express like things that are difficult, and I think that like that's something that has been like moving target for us for a while, where like because I'm not the one singing it, and like so what if the
That's true
person that
too.
is singing it is like it makes them feel
That's
weird and like they can't necessarily feel represented by that lyric,
mhm.
or and
Yeah.
it really is like a big compromise, and that I will like explicitly say, and I say this with no malice towards like Drew or Mike or anyone else in the band, would be that like that song was a moment where like I did have to compromise, but I did so kicking and screaming because I felt like
That's a lot of
the
growth
end
though, you
goal of
know?
like sure of like needing that thing to be said for like the sake of the song having meaning is like it's like a difficult sort of tug of war, but like, we got through it, and I feel like pretty satisfied with where we ended up. And I think everyone else feels pretty satisfied with where we ended up
Good.
too. But
Yeah.
yeah, like when you're talking about like deep trauma that you're like discussing in song and people don't like it, and it's like it's a little tug of war begins to happen. I think that's where like I become pretty hard to work with.
I had a
Yeah.
sim my or like let me just Sean, I had a similar thing there. About 10 years ago, 2015, I'm recording a record, and we had a song on the record that was very pop punk, like probably our most pop punky song, but it was like there's a line going into the chorus where my mom had just died in May. We're recording this, I turned 25 in July, but it's like, I wish I could say my mother stayed alive long enough to see her oldest son turn 25. And it's like, it was like, for weeks, I was just like, I'm going to take that out. Like, that feels like it's going to make the room uncomfortable. Like, it feels like it's a little too this, a little too that. And like Doug Grion, the producer, who was like awesome. Like, this guy had to work with, like, he was Scott Weiland's like #1, like, engine, like, he was his right hand guy. So he had to deal with crazy bullshit all the time. And he's like, that's the unhinged. Like, he's like, you're listening to music. He's like, the best lyrics, the best songs are things that you as the songwriter, and you'll hear this a lot in like country, R&B, pop, where it's like when you write it down, you're like, that line sucks. I personally could never say that. I would not feel comfortable saying that out loud. You know what I mean? Both in a vulnerable sense or even like a silly sense. Think of country songs, maybe get up in my truck. Like, it's like, that's stupid. I would never say that. There's a reason they pop off so well. It's like best
Sure.
lyrics are sometimes the ones that make you go like, oh, that's fucking whack. But it's not whack. That's what people are going to connect with,
I connect
Anyways,
with,
yeah,
like, really,
right?
and I think Zach also would agree. Like, we connect with some like pretty serious subject matter as far as lyrics. So and that definitely is not true of everyone in the band. So it's definitely like a compromise when those things come up.
And I mean, obviously, that's what happens with bands. You need that compromise. And we've seen it time and time again where there's like main lyricists or composers, and they've had to, kind of take a vote and they get outvoted by the original or what they had in mind. And they learn to live with it. And
You
usually
do,
sometimes the
yeah.
outcome, yeah, and the outcome, is something that a lot of people appreciate.
I mean,
And, I remember listening to Better Son the first time, and I could really I could hear the story behind it, right? Even if it maybe not didn't have your original, lyrics or what what you thought you wanted to have in there, I could still feel that emotion and stuff coming through in
That's
Better
great.
Son. Yeah,
Cool.
so yeah,
I mean,
That's
even
definitely
just the other day,
one of my favorite songs.
we had a chat in our group kind of similar about this, where it's kind of like, oh, there's a push and pull, like so many
Mhm.
people to serve one man. And it's like one of our friends, Zach, shout out Trophy Case Kid, was kind of like, I don't care how much was it Zach or was it Scott? It might have been our friend, the Scott Mailman. Maybe if you have TikTok, the Scott Mailman, who's basically like, at the end of the day, everything is about serving the song. You know what I mean? Like, maybe the bass player is
Yep.
pulling back in this song, the drummer's pulling back in the song, you're doing less, you're maybe not getting to show your thing. At the end of the day, it's about creating the best song. You know what I mean? Like, it's not about
Mhm.
you. You are just the vessels creating the thing.
So speaking of all your songs, so what's next on the horizon for Old Neon? You just
Well,
had the EP, right, come out in May.
the EP
So
came
what
out.
do we have going on with music, touring, all that stuff?
We've been doing a little in the Northeast on the road, but I think the big thing, which is something that you explicitly asked to talk about, which is the Halloween show. I mean, that's
Yes.
always like the
A lot of
most
talk about the
insane
Halloween
thing.
show.
Yeah, it's definitely the craziest thing that we do every year. Every year I wonder if I'll make it through the set. And so far so good. We'll see.
Good.
But yeah, that is kind of something that people come if you like come to one of our shows a year, that's like the show that you would go to or the show that people do often show up. It usually is like, right at the sellout point. We've already sold tickets haven't even gone on sale yet. And I've sold like 25 tickets just because people have come to me and said like, "Hey, when does that go on sale?" And I'll be like,
When
"Well,
do
if you
tickets go on sale?
Yeah,
like
when
they
dude,
should be
so we know.
August it should be August 31st." But yeah, people
Okay.
will message me and I'll be like,
What do
"Look,
you
I'll
know?
take 15 bucks. I'm making a
This
list
comes out. This
and
comes
then
out
we'll
the week
just."
before that. What do you know?
Oh, right
Yeah,
on.
it
Cool.
Yeah,
does.
basically, yeah,
Yeah.
probably, yeah.
So
We'll make it so it comes out the week before that. You're perfect.
yeah, either way, it's fine. But yeah, this is kind of like the one of the year, and getting just like the drag scene involved is like something that I think is really close to our hearts, especially like last year when we did it, it was just like, let's do a fun thing. But this year it's like, wow, we're kind of like fighting for our rights right now. So like,
Yeah, exactly.
let's like
That shit
be
here.
as overtly, yeah, like let's take this as a moment to like to like plant our heels in the ground and say like, this is who we believe in. And if
Been
you,
good for you guys. So.
you know, if you come for me, or if you come for my friend, I will tweet Donald Trump until he fist fights me.
Comes in fist fights me in the parking lot. Yeah.
No,
yeah.
but seriously.
This episode's gonna get tagged by the NSA.
Yeah, it's
Sure.
all good. We're all getting knocks on the
all
door,
good.
brother. Thank
I
you,
think
Sean.
I'm probably, like I said,
can't get on a
I think
plane
I'm already
anymore.
on the list.
Yeah.
Really?
Sorry,
Yeah.
Is that
I don't
true?
got fly no more. Yeah. No, I don't know. It will
He
be
got
after
on a
this. Yeah.
plane.
I got on a plane like a couple weeks ago to go to fucking Philly. I never want to do it again. Yeah.
We've had a lot of fun in Philly, but granted, we were hanging out with Matt and Nick from the Wonder Years like every time.
But I bet that was fun.
I
Yeah.
was not with the Wonder Years. I was just with regular assholes. Yeah.
Yeah, see, that feels less appealing already.
Yeah. Yeah.
But no, I just like, all kidding aside, like I feel like this is the time and place where like we as people who like presume themselves and like hold ourselves up to the standard of like being an ally want to like really say like, hey, this is what we believe in. You're not going to stop us from doing it. And
Exactly.
so like that's a big part of it this year. I think, like I said, last year it was kind of just like, let's have a fun drag show with our friends.
Yeah.
But now it feels like a lot more, especially like last year we got some hate mail, and I think that made us
Double
like
down.
even more, yeah, like, okay, you got a problem with this? Now I'm really going to shove it down your fucking throat. And
Yeah.
so we just feel emboldened, and I think we feel like we want to give space for like our drag friends and family and our queer friends and family to like have a night. And like we wanted to do that last year too, but like it didn't feel as urgent last year. Last year it was just like, you know, we're having fun. It's a drag night. This is going to be great. But I think because of the hate mail that show got, and the combined with like just the systematic
atmosphere.
oppression of people that we care about and love, it's just like even more of a pressure point that I just want to
Yeah.
apply my brute force to. Hopefully, at the end of the day, you know, maybe 250 people leave that room feeling like, you know, they had a space and that space was made safe by us. And maybe like in the grand scheme of things, that means absolutely nothing. But for one person, it might mean
Well,
everything.
yeah.
So I
One
think
person.
that
Yeah.
is,
You'd be the change in one person. That's a huge deal.
yeah. So like that, I think, is what is fueling a lot of this. But also like, I don't want to get away from the fact that we just want to have a fun drag show and just party with our friends. And like, we have so many friends in the drag scene. We have so many friends that are queens, and not just queens, but like people that we see. Like, I go to Blue Moon, which is a bar in Lawrenceville, often for their drag shows. And like, I'm just friends with some of the patrons there now, just by virtue of going. Like, we want to create a room where like we can all just get together and have a fun night. And then afterwards, we're going to go collectively to another bar called P-Town for like a drag show proper. So there'll be like after Mr. Smalls, which is where we're playing the drag show, then we're going to go to like a small gay bar called P-Town that was raided recently and fined tens of thousands of dollars for, you know, by people that I feel like had an agenda to levy those fines. And so now they find themselves in the difficult position of, you know, being told by like government officials that they're going to be responsible for that money, whether they like it or not, or whether or not it was just. And so we're just going to go spend some money there and make sure that, you know, we're focusing our efforts on, you know, pulling up and like drinking ourselves to death so that they can have a good bar night, and like so that we can also be of use there. That's Halloween.
Love that you're doing.
It's gonna be fucking insane. It'll be the craziest thing that
anyone's ever seen.
You see this year in a fun, but like in the best way. You know, like no one's gonna get, you know, no one's going to be made to feel like an outsider. Everyone's going to have fun. We're all coming in costumes, and it'll just be a space for everyone to be themselves and have fun and listen to pop punk. And then we'll go to P-Town and get crazy, even crazier. And it'll be great.
Brother.
And if you're in Pittsburgh, go to P-Town, because like Right
Yeah,
on.
shout out Pittsburgh.
But yeah, if you're in
The
Pittsburgh,
better
also go to
city
P-Town
in
because they need
Pennsylvania,
your
definitely. Yeah. Shout out P-Town.
the finest of the cities.
Yeah, I believe you. I'm fully
All right,
on
I'll get
board.
off my
No,
No,
no, I
we
love what you
live
guys
on
are
high
doing,
horses on
Sean
this
and
show,
Zach,
bro.
with
The horses are
the
as high
whole
as they get.
yeah.
We do.
What
I'll get
We
down from
do.
my pulpit,
yeah,
my
No, no, I
sacrilege
think what you're
pulpit.
doing is so important because
I
I
give
think a
you,
lot of
we
people
give you the
forget.
pulpit. It's
Yeah,
important, yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
As like a
I think
local
a lot of people
person too,
forget
like
our scene is inclusive.
yeah, as a regional thing too, it's like you have to take some sort of ownership with it where it's kind of like same thing where it's like, we kind of occupy this space online or personally, individually we do, and collectively where it's kind
Sure.
of like we need to we protect our space. If someone's fucked up, we kind of try to push them out, or like if people seem inauthentic, it's kind of like you need to protect there's a sense of pride that comes with like a hometown or a certain scene or culture, or whatever it comes with. And it's like you guys seem to be doing a good job with that with both pop punk and Pittsburgh in general. So like fucking shout out to you guys
I
for
think
that.
that like you like Rob, you definitely I don't know, Amanda, like what I would never ask someone's age. I'm like Rob, but I
Great
I think
gift.
that like we grew up in a scene, I think, where people made like, pretty big mistakes. I'm certainly no exception to that. And I think that like
Yeah,
part of like being someone who like could not only atone for like dumb shit that you did in your 20s, but like even better than atonement, if you could like be responsible for like creating a better environment in the future, then I
Yes.
think that is like a worthy goal. And I think that's
Yes.
definitely like one of my goals in the band, but I also think that like there are like people in the band in their 20s who like also want to like be a part of a better existence for, like I said, like queer people, people that are being targeted by anybody. I mean, there have been a lot of bad actors in the scene over the
Yeah.
years.
I
And
have been.
I
No,
think that
giving us
like part
all
of
a
like,
bad name. Yeah.
well, and like part of cleansing that, I think, is like not necessarily like casting certain people out, but making sure that like you're actively like involved in like the betterment of like not only like the society at large, but like hopefully like those people and like the people they've affected and like the people that are at risk. And I think
Yes.
Yes.
it's like more of a holistic idea than like just like a swift axe. But also like there has to be, and I think there is in our scene, thankfully, Pittsburgh is a space where I think that like if you are going to be a villain and come into our spaces and try to hurt our people, especially our people that are at risk, then like you will be dealt with in the appropriate
Oh
fashion.
yeah. We like that. How we do shit that's how we
Um,
do shit in our group too. Yeah, we get you out real quick. Shout out to the jabroni. Like we'll get you out real quick. If you're being uncool, it's not cancel culture, it's accountability culture. You know what I mean? Like everyone has a chance to come back, second chances, yada yada yada, redemption. But like if you're a dick, you're making people uncomfortable, we're gonna make it clear.
yeah, and I don't know, like I have a lot. I'm sure Zach has a lot of thoughts too. I have a lot of thoughts about like I hope that like all of those people can like come to a place of like salvation, not like in a religious sense. I don't mean
Yeah,
like a
Yeah.
yeah,
sort of
yeah,
like a religiousness, but like my hope is that like everybody comes to the same realization, and that realization being like, you want to treat people in the best possible way, and like you want to protect people that like the government is like coming
yeah.
Yes.
for like
Legitimately coming for rounding
erroneously.
up on trucks. Yeah,
Yeah.
essentially.
Um, and you want to like help be responsible for that. And I also like, yeah, I don't know where I'm going with that thought. All those things I think are important in like at least the Pittsburgh scene. So that's like one of the great things I think that we're living through right now.
Well,
Beautiful.
so I am happy to hear that as someone knowing like my stepfather and he's from Pittsburgh, grew up in Pittsburgh. I know my step family and I know where they lean on values and the political
Sure.
scale. And for me, coming from like Philly, well, I'm from central Pennsylvania, but I, went to school in Philly. And in my mind, I always saw Pittsburgh as a more conservative area. And I thought, well, every major city has a little part that's, maybe more progressive, but for the most part, Pittsburgh as a whole was definitely not that. So it is refreshing for me as someone who grew up in Pennsylvania but never really like lived in Pittsburgh to see that, okay, that's my preconceived notions about Pittsburgh are definitely not what they actually are, which is
It definitely
very
runs
nice to hear.
It's definitely an array, and I do think that Pittsburgh is, especially above a certain age, like let's say 45, a conservative
Yeah, it
leaning
tracks.
area. But
Yeah.
I also think that like I was speaking more in context of the scene where like, yeah,
Yeah.
that shit
Yeah.
would not
Won't fly.
fly in our scene
Yeah.
for sure. There are definitely suburbs of Pittsburgh that have like pockets of, like MAGA loyalists, but
Of course. Yeah.
also I like to say that progress happens one death at a time, and like every boomer that drops, our state
It's
gets a
so
little
also true too.
Bless the dead
our
old.
state gets a little more purple, and every religious old timer that checks out, we get a little closer to my Democrat utopia. So
We're
we'll
getting
see.
there.
We all
Shout out to your state,
We'll
though.
get there.
So you've
we
swayed
will.
entire elections. So on behalf of the rest of the
Sure.
country,
Yeah,
thank
we
you for
have. Yeah.
2020. Amanda, do you have anything important that we need to ask before we leave?
Let's see. We talked about the Halloween show. I think is the which is really important for y'all. So we want to make sure everyone knows about that. Where can people find you guys before we wrap up here? If they want to follow you guys, check you out, learn more about Old Neon, where can they find you on the socials?
Like the internet.
Oh, I was so busy preaching. I was so busy preaching, I forgot to do the
Well, yeah, I
important stuff.
forgot. Yeah,
Old Neon music
preaching and
everywhere. Yeah,
plugging, baby. We got
all these all the
hell yeah.
yeah, Old Neon music on every single thing. Zach, I apologize. I just talked over the entire show.
And with that, Zach, Sean, thank you guys so much for being on the podcast today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you
Hope
for
to have
having
you guys back on. I really appreciate it. Hey guys, again, thank you so much for watching. If you weren't aware, this show is a part of the Never a Phase Network, a collective of creators keeping the spirit of the scene alive. You can discover more shows and creators like this one at neveraphasenetwork.com and follow us on TikTok and Instagram at Never a Phase Network. Long live NapNet.